Eto Community Comic Book Club 2024 June. Bad Dream, A Dreamer Story by Nicole Maines and Rye Hickman. Trigger warnings, misgendering, artistic illustrations of blood and violence, homophobia, transphobia, anxiety attacks, conversion camps. Nicole Maines. Nicole Maines is the writer of Bad Dream, A Dreamer Story. Nicole Maines is a writer, actor, and trans rights activist. Nicole Maines' debut acting role was in an episode of Royal Pains in 2015, a USA Network also responsible for shows like Monk, Psych, and Suits, among others. And soon after, Nicole Maines voiced Osa in Rainbow Six Siege. Then in 2018, Nicole Maines was cast as Nia Nal, aka Dreamer, heading into Supergirl Season 4, and played the character in 61 episodes of the show across 3 seasons, as well as appearing as Nia Nal in DC Legends of Tomorrow as part of the Crisis of Infinite Earths event, and the year after Supergirl finished, appearing in an episode of The Flash's 9th and final season. Post-Supergirl, Dreamer roles for Maines have also included a 4-episode stint on Good Trouble, terrible show title, phenomenal show with tons of queer representation, and had a frequent recurring role in Yellow Jackets Season 2. Nicole Maines is planning on releasing her autobiographical memoir later this year, which I believe will cover both the court case and the Supergirl Dreamer years. Rye Hickman is the artist of Bad Dream, A Dreamer Story. Rye Hickman is a visual storyteller and a graduate of the Savannah College of Art and Design's sequential art program. Rye, a non-binary artist and colorist's past work, includes Lonely Receiver, Test, Moth and Whisper, Gem and the Holograms, and more. They get really excited about dystopian fiction, good coffee, and drawing hands. Recently, Rye has done the art for Samuel Sattin's middle school graphic novel, Buzzing. In 2024, Rye contributed art to DC Pride, a celebration of Rachel Pollack's story, Shining Through the Wreckage, which resurrected and reintroduced Kate Godwin, aka Coagula, who has the ability to rearrange the molecular stability of objects, such as turning solids into liquids and vice versa, and is notable for being the first trans superhero published by DC Comics, debuting in Doom Patrol issue 70 in 1993. She was unceremoniously killed after Rachel Pollack's Doom Patrol series was cancelled, playing both into the infamous woman in refrigerators trope and killing DC's first trans superhero at a time when LGBTQ plus representation was a much different landscape than it is today. For context, Rachel Pollack was a trans woman and writer who passed away in 2023 and set a precedent for trans people working in comics, one which Nicole and Rye get to walk in the present day. According to their Patreon, Rye makes comics because Rye is a storyteller with a million ideas and the itch to communicate them all visually. Rye makes comics because it makes Rye happy each day they get to do it. Rye makes comics to create queer, diverse, and weird stories. They also have a story under their dead name before they transitioned in the Marvel Voices Pride 2021 anthology story, Colossus, featuring characters David Aldean, aka Prodigy, and his partner Tommy Shepard, aka Speed, both bisexual characters. Rye also did the cover art for Joy Demora's Hunger Pangs book. Rye started as a pencil and ink artist, but has transitioned to being a mostly digital artist because it's less physical space intensive. Rye enjoys doing thumbnails of the entire script to look at the book at a high level and make sure that all the moving pieces are moving, that compositions aren't getting too repetitive, that characters are moving and gesticulating consistently throughout the book, and then after that does the pencil and inks in roughly 50-page increments, mainly to avoid losing one's mind, doing all the penciling in one go and keeping the repetition from getting to them. Rye tries to keep the character silhouettes different from one another, so at a quick glance the reader is able to work out who is who. Rye's upcoming works include a story from the Backer Kit Project, a 100-page LGBTQIA+ charity comic anthology called When I Was Young. TV history. In January 2018, Supergirl creator and executive producer Greg Berlanti spoke at an event about the lack of trans representation in the broader Arrowverse. We don't have an active trans character across the shows, and so I feel behind the times every day on that issue, Berlanti said. In May 2018, it was reported that an open casting call was searching to cast a transgender woman of any ethnicity in her early 20s to join Supergirl's 4th season as Nia Nal. On July 21, 2018, trans activist and actress Nicole Maines was announced in the role at the show's San Diego Comic-Con panel. It was also confirmed that Nia would become the superhero Dreamer, and that she is an ancestor of Legion of Superheroes member Nura Nal. The Legion of Superheroes are a 31st century coalition of young, superpowered aliens dedicated to protecting people and social reform through inspiring the galaxy with legends of superheroes like the times of old, aka the present day, but doing so through a modern, aka future way. Nura Nal was introduced in 1964's Adventure Comics issue 317 under the name Dream Girl, but switched her name to Dreamer during the team's post-Zero Hour era. Maines described Nia Nal, aka Dreamer, as having this ferocious drive to protect people and to fight against discrimination and hatred. She's the superhero we need right now. The character is the first transgender superheroine on television. While the Legion of Superheroes character, Nura Nal, Dream Girl pre-existed in the source comic books, Nia Nal, aka Dreamer, was an original creation for the Supergirl show. Nia Nal in the Supergirl TV series is an Earthborn to human father Paul and now Tauran mother Isabel, with an older sister named Maeve. Nia was raised in Parthas, a community where aliens and humans peacefully coexisted. Although bearing a rigid emotional attachment to Parthas that imprinted her there, Nia desired a life outside of the domain she grew up in. While born physically a boy, at a young age, Nia realized that she was really a girl. Her family offered their unconditional love and support during that time. While she struggled against intolerance and hate-fueled attacks, including being denied service at establishments, Parthas's acceptance towards those who are different nonetheless allowed Nia to flourish as a transgender girl. As a result, she developed a penchant for justice and a strong desire to help and protect others who face similar prejudice due to their identities. In adulthood, Nia moved to Washington, D.C., where she received a degree in international relations from Georgetown University. Afterwards, Nia became a political speechwriter for the White House's press secretary, Cat Grant. In late 2018, Nia moved to National City and was hired as a reporter for Catco Worldwide Media, personally recommended to Kara Danvers by Cat. Even before Nia knew about her powers, she displays a superhero levels of character strength. Her first time meeting a alien Legion of Superheroes member from the future who is stuck in the 2010s called Brainiac 5 is when his holographic projector fails at a pizza place, revealing his non-humanoid appearance, and the owners angrily threaten violence while spouting anti-alien hate speech. And Nia steps between them and tells the owner to back down. Nia comes out as transgender to her Catco CEO, James Olsen, convincing him to write a newspaper editorial against alien hatred as anti-alien tensions spike in National City, thanks to fringe groups and corrupt politicians spouting hate. Later in the series, Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, discovers that Nia has narcolepsy, an early sign of Nia's powers emerging. Nia reveals she is an alien from the planet Naltor, and select women of this race develop the power of precognition. Brainiac 5, aka Brainy, another alien, helps Nia with her dreams, which helps them locate and arrest an elusive criminal. When she develops the unwanted dreamer powers, Nia has little confidence in her family accepting her as the one female in every generation of her family who has received the abilities. Nia's sister Maeve, who was taught dream interpretation for years while expecting to gain the powers, discovers Nia has the powers and renounces her. Kara reveals her identity as the superhero Supergirl to Nia to reassure her. While Nia's mother Isabel lies dying of a spider bite, Nia uses her powers to talk to her mother about them, who reassures her she will be able to continue the Dreamer line. Nia trains her powers, taking the alter ego Dreamer and assisting Supergirl and friends in defeating supervillains. Dreamer's powers in the CW show include astral projection, precognition, and omancy, which is the ability to divine future through interpretation of dreams. A rarer ability that she develops, which only some of her ancestors have developed mastery of, is dream energy manipulation, creating dream energy blasts and dream energy constructs, including chains, shockwaves, and shields, initially requiring gauntlets to help her channel that dream energy, but eventually she grows to not require them. She eventually even steps up as the primary superhero for National City for a time when Supergirl is unable to. Nia and Brainy enter a on-off relationship. While they have some rocky periods at the wedding of Supergirl's sister Alex Danvers to her wife Kelly Olsen, Nia now catches the bouquet, which superstitiously implies she will be the next person likely to get married. Seeing this, Brainy remarks to his friends, with his logical and computer-like brain, that he sees a 100% probability that Brainy and Nia will be married in the future. The cultural impact of Dreamer. The character is a purchasable skin in Fortnite, and has been the inspiration for fan art online, and obviously they represent a lot for the trans and queer communities in terms of being seen in media. Nicole began working in comics by going to DC while Supergirl was still airing new episodes and telling them that the original character for the show that she was playing was spectacular and groundbreaking and means a lot to a lot of people, and that Dreamer should continue. She should have a legacy in the comic books. Nicole self-admits that she didn't know a lot about how comics worked and went into DC with the whole pitch and whole story for an ongoing series. A big ask for somebody who had never worked with DC Publishing and said somebody should write the story that she'd come up with. DC listened to the pitch and liked it, but they said, before we get into all that, we have a young adult graphic novel line that's really popping off and we're looking for more content, and we don't have a story about sisters. Could you write one? Nicole's initial response was, write one? Oh no, you don't understand. I say the words other people write. And then COVID hit, and writing the graphic novel was a quarantine project that has since grown, and after writing the book for nearly 4 years, saw it released in April 2024. For this origin story graphic novel, Nicole has taken pieces of the origin story from the show, enough that viewers will be familiar with it, but then expanded upon it and changed some things so it could be applied to a 15-year-old girl growing up in a remote town. The aim was to ensure it was accessible to people who had never heard of the TV show version of the character. For Nicole, one of the most fun parts was getting to expand upon the lore of Naltor. In interviews, she said that the Legion of Superheroes comics, people have seen Naltor a bit before, it's known that everyone saw the future and had a high seer and were a highly advanced society, but that was kind of it. Not a lot of socio-political stuff going on. So Nicole used her brother's D&D DM material to assist her in creating the world building and got really excited getting to explore that world lore and present Naltor in this new way. In terms of tackling Nia's different identities as an outsider, an alien, a trans woman, a lot of different identities, Nicole's strategy when bringing that to a young adult audience was to tackle them head on, including the issues in their entirety. She believes kids and young adults are way smarter than people give them credit for, and they're capable of understanding the larger conversations because they boil down to universal concepts like treat people the way that you want to be treated. Anti-trans sentiment and legislation in the US, the UK, and other countries started boiling up during the time that Nicole was writing the book, and it bled into the book and it became a cathartic way to address some of those issues. She thinks queer readers are going to feel very validated by it, and for cisgender heterosexual readers, regardless of whether they're allies or if they don't know anything about the queer communities, Nicole thinks it's a good dip of the toe into understanding those waters and understanding the conversations going on in queer circles in a fun, accessible, superhero-y way. Comic history. So diving into Nia Now, aka Dreamer's comic history outside of its graphic novel. In June 2021, Dreamer, as seen in the superhero Supergirl TV show, made her comic book debut in the story Date Night, written by Maines, featured in DC Pride issue 1, also dubbed DC Pride 2021, fitting with DC's Arrowverse continuity. In July 2022, Nia appeared in Superman Son of Kal-El issue 13, making her debut within the main DC Comics continuity, an issue co-written by Nicole Maines and Tom Taylor, with Nia subsequently appearing in Superman Son of Kal-El issues 14 and 15, written by Tom Taylor. During those John Kent Superman comics, shortly after taking on the mantle of the Dreamer, Nia experienced a vision of the deaths of the entire Justice League at the hands of Henry Bendix, a Wildstorm universe character who is the president of a fictional Asian Pacific island called Gamora. She traveled to the Fortress of Solitude and was able to warn Superman, John Kent, about the massacre. John recognized Dreamer, having befriended her descendant Nura Nal in the 31st century. He explained that Nura had foreseen their encounter and had given to him a set of gauntlets that would help Nia channel her energy projections. Nia also told John that she had foreseen that his father, Superman Clark Kent, would return to Earth. Nia then went with John Kent and allies to assist in the liberation of Gamora. In the battle, Dreamer had a vision of the future in which Henry Bendix destroyed the whole island, but by the end of the conflict, she presumed that John changed the future. In Lazarus Planet, Assault on Krypton issue 1, Nia met the Kryptonian girl hero Supergirl, being given by her and Batman the mission to retrieve the Helmet of Fate by navigating into the latest Dr. Fate, Khalid Nazor's dreams. She eventually emerged from this experience feeling that her powers were different, now being able to see the future even while being awake. In DC Pride 2022, it's revealed Nia attended Metropolis Pride, at which her descendant Nura was also present. In DC Pride 2023, it's revealed at some point Nia also attended Midnighter's wedding. During Titan's Beast World Metropolis one-shot tie-in, after having a vision during a conversation with her friend Yvette, she asked John Kent to help evacuate Metropolis from an incoming catastrophe, facing and defeating a mutated Livewire without knowing that she was being observed by Amanda Waller. Right after the conflict with the Beasts of Metropolis in Action Comics issue 10,060, Nia was contacted by Amanda Waller in her residence in Parthas, a hidden alien town in Ohio, now home to the LGBT plus community and other minority groups, being a safe space for all. Waller intended to blackmail the heroine, stating that if she would not help in the capture of a runaway former Suicide Squad precog member called Afterthought, she would reveal Parthas to the whole world, putting its citizens in danger. Dreamer would then accept the request and eventually defeated Afterthought, but Amanda actually wanted to understand if Nia could be controlled if she needed to save those close to her. Amanda Waller blackmails Dreamer again, using Parthas as leverage, recruiting Dreamer to Waller's Suicide Squad team. Waller specifically wants to use Dreamer's powers in a new way to have her travel alongside the squad's other members through the Dream Realm into Gamora for Waller's own nefarious purposes, as seen in Suicide Squad Dream. Dreamer also appears in DC Pride 2024. Plot summary. Part 1. Nia Nal is getting bullied at school in Parthas. Similar to in the Supergirl TV show, Parthas is an alien sanctuary on Earth, almost entirely self-sufficient and off the grid from human society. Nia is experiencing strange dreams and is in denial about why they are happening. Dreamer enjoys reading The Seers, a limited edition promotional comic book about a real Naltoran superhero team who all have dream-based powers. Nia enjoys the stories but dislikes the chrome leotard costumes. Nia has a lot of alone time during the summer and enjoys drawing costume sketches for her sister Maeve in preparation for when Maeve receives her dream-based powers. Maeve has been studying dream interpretations with Isabel Nal, their mother, since Maeve could read. They believe that Isabel fled Naltor and came to Earth when she was in her late teens, seeing Parthas in a dream, crash landing and meeting their dad Paul, a human living on Earth. The aliens in Pathos, while accepting of other aliens, are unaccepting of trans and non-binary people, purposefully misgendering Nia, even those who used to be her friend before she transitioned. The former friend viciously kicks a red ball during a light-hearted game, breaking Nia's nose. Nia temporarily loses consciousness, experiencing snippets of strange dreams. When she recovers consciousness, Maeve blames Nia for not getting out of the way of the ball's path, and the Pathos community is laughing at Nia. Returning home, the reader learns that their mother Isabel runs an at-home future searing business, but her vision is limited to the town line. The barrier that protects Parthas from human detection clouds Isabel's dreams, so Isabel can only speak with certainty about what will happen in Parthas. Nia's nose is snapped back into place and bandaged. Maeve now worries she's future blind, and Isabel dismisses the idea because Isabel had a dream shortly after she married their father Paul that her daughter would inherit her abilities and become a seer. When Nia asks if the dream was wrong, Nia and Maeve's mum replies that dreams never fail, only the dreamer's interpretation does. Maeve doesn't listen and lashes out in frustration, not understanding what she's doing wrong, throwing her dream quartz on the ground. The entire conversation, Nia avoids making eye contact with Maeve or Isabel, only making eye contact with her father Paul when he makes the small gesture of dropping sugar cubes in her drink. For the most part, Nia seems to be resigned to being a supporting character in her own life, as her sister gets to do all the cool things. When Nia leaves the room, Maeve complains about Nia ruining everything and that it'd be better if Nia spent all her time alone because it'd be better for everyone. Nia overhears this but pretends not to in order to keep the peace. When Nia and Maeve are sent to get ice cream together, Maeve makes Nia apologize, framing the nose-breaking incident as Nia's fault. Nia apologizes and shows Maeve the suicide sign she's made for Maeve when her powers kick in. Nia, still semi in denial that she might be experiencing dream powers, asks Maeve if being future blind would really be so bad. Maeve reacts badly. Maeve says that powers which would give her a burden and responsibility on Naltor are different on Earth, that she can be whatever kind of hero Maeve wants to be. It's all Maeve has ever dreamed of, and not getting the powers will metaphorically kill her. Maeve wouldn't know what to do with herself. When Maeve asks Nia that Maeve couldn't really think she'd be future blind, Nia pushes her burgeoning suspicions back behind a wall of denial and people-pleasing, responding that Maeve will have them in no time. That night, Nia has another vivid dream. Waking up in a cold sweat, denial shattered, Nia realizes she has inherited the dreams and vomits at the prospect. Nia doesn't want to do this to her sister Maeve, taking powers that Nia's family think belong to Maeve. Nia runs away without leaving any messages for her family, hopping on a Greyhound bus to Metropolis, leaving the safety of Parthas, chugging energy drinks to stay awake. Nia is upset about having acquired the powers and just wants them to go away. Nia is adamant she will return, she just needs the dreams to stop. Part 2, Metropolis. Dreamer arrives in Metropolis, briefly bumping into a mysterious silver-haired lady in the throngs of Metropolis people. Nia realizes nobody is staring or laughing at her for being trans, too busy with their own lives, and feels ecstatic at the anonymity. Nia goes to Andrea's diner, I suspect named after DC Pride editor Andrea Shear, and refuses to answer phone calls from her mother Isabel. Nia texts her mother that she's okay and she's sorry, then turns off her phone. A mysterious silver-haired lady walks past the diner. Nia tries to stay awake as long as possible, but keeps slipping into a dream state. Later, Nia gets accosted by a drunk on the street, interested in the contents of her bright red duffel bag, the second red item in the book after the red kickball in part 1, and in a moment of panic, zaps the drunk with a blast of blue dream energy, managing to escape. Nia escapes and sees a convenience store/gas station hybrid with signage from an earlier dream she had at the end of part 1. Nia hides in the convenience store, overwhelmed by everything. The news channel in the convenience store is talking about aliens coming to Earth, and the left-wing leaning people want the aliens in schools with human children, and Lockwood, a anti-alien character from Supergirl, representing the right, is spouting about not wanting his children brainwashed and probed in the bathroom and that aliens should be destroyed, an allegory for how right-wing politics in real-world America talks about illegal immigrants and trans people. Nia starts spiraling into a state of depression, not sure what she's looking for. Galaxy and her friends enter the convenience store. Taylor Elixtrix Spear Biaxi, more commonly known by her superhero pseudonym Galaxy, is a transgender character created by Jadzia Axelrod and Vash Taylor for Galaxy the Prettiest Star in their first appearance. Galaxy was the first Cyandian born in space, and thus was dubbed the Galaxy Crown. While elements of her life on Cyandi always remain unknown, her birth occurred while the planet was in the midst of conflict with the alien hive mind known as the Vane. At the age of 10, when the fall of Cyandi seemed imminent, a general devised a plan to keep Taylor safe. Knowing it would be easier to hide the princess as part of a family unit, the general gathered 2 other Cyandian children to stand as her Earth siblings. Having been relocated to Earth, Galaxy assumed the identity of a 10-year-old boy through the use of a device called the Hussar, and eventually went through a boy's puberty. At the age of 16, Taylor met Kat Silverberg, who helped her come out of her shell and live as her true, authentic self. Destroying the Asar, Taylor lives life on Earth as a visible refugee from Cyandi and is a trans alien woman. Their disguise is no longer enabled. The Vane will be able to track Galaxy down one day, which might endanger Earth, but she can be herself. It's worth noting, Galaxy the Prettiest Star is written by a trans woman called Jadzia Axelrod and is an allegory for the real-world trans experience. Galaxy has since appeared as a secondary character in Hawkgirl, 2023 six-issue miniseries, which is set 6 years in-universe after that graphic novel. Galaxy has a sidekick called Argus. Argus is not a dog. They are a Cyandi surveillance unit programmed to monitor and protect Taylor, but also really enjoy scratchies. Argus has no connection to the DC Comics government organization using the acronym Argus, which has existed since 2012. Galaxy's powers include being able to manipulate light, heat, and gravity, in addition to an alien physiology and the power of flight. Catherine Angelica Silverberg, aka Cat, with the green hair, first appeared in Galaxy the Prettiest Star as a love interest for Galaxy who helped bring Galaxy out of their shell and help find their identity. As of Hawkgirl 2023, Cat is living with Taylor in the borough of A-Town in Metropolis, in an apartment paid for by Cat's mother, much to Cat's embarrassment. Cat's a big fan of the Assassin's Creed video game franchise, is very fond of the Metropolis hot dog, and her favorite hot dog stand uses ketchup to put a small Superman-style S symbol on the egg. Cat has a particular connection to Superman that hasn't been elaborated on yet, has a below-knee prosthesis, and is an avid rock climber. Cat's hair by that time has changed to a short, vibrant pink. Yvette first appeared in the Supergirl TV series, portrayed by trans actor Roxy Wood as Nia Now's roommate, who is also trans. Yvette was tasked with keeping Nia from falling asleep when her roommate began struggling with nightmares, and appeared in a total of 3 episodes across seasons 4 and 5. Yvette first appears in mainstream DC Comics in December 2023 in the Titans Beast World Tour Metropolis issue as a friend of Nia's. In this comic, her hair is done up in buns. Nia instantly spots that Galaxy is alien and Yvette is trans and is shocked that they're allowed to be together and thinks they're amazingly cool. The gas station attendant acts speciesist, refusing service to Taylor for being an alien. Kat threatens the gas station attendant that her mother is a civil rights lawyer and is familiar with Metropolis's anti-discrimination laws. Nia topples shelving after Taylor, aka Galaxy, uses her powers to get the gas station attendant to back down. The toppling shelves cause a big enough commotion to de-escalate the situation as everyone is shocked out of their anger temporarily. Nia steals gas station sushi on the way out, but is persuaded to dispose of it for potential health ramifications. Yvette is initially defensive, thinking Nia was either virtue signaling or thinking that trans people or aliens were weak and couldn't defend themselves, when Nia admits she helped them because they were trans and aliens. This attitude changes when Nia reveals she's both trans and an alien, and Galaxy can tell Nia is being genuine, not a superpower, just socially intuitive. Asking about whether Nia is going somewhere, where Nia is staying, or if Nia has any plans at all, and Nia has no answers, Catherine asks if Nia is okay. Nia reveals she is not. The group twigs that Nia has nowhere to stay, stating that there is no shame, they just want to make sure Nia is good tonight. They go to the ball at the Bottom Dollar Inn, located in A-Town, a queer-friendly space that is also a sanctuary for aliens in Metropolis. The ballroom scene, or ballroom culture, is a real-life African-American and Latino underground LGBTQ+ subculture that reaches back to the time of the Harlem Renaissance in the 20th century. But the ballroom scene we know today really took off in the 1970s, New York in particular, remaining the home of ballroom. To quote Rolling Stone magazine, for decades ballroom, ball, or house culture has been a way for queer black people, Latinx, and Latinos to live their best lives. That is, to figure out how to respond to a society that devalued their lives and attempted to erase their presence. Through elaborate performances incorporating and commenting on race, class, and gender, the ball community has historically reflected the American dream and wants exclusion from it. Since then, ballroom culture has been facilitated and appropriated by the likes of Madonna's Voguing, and most recently by Ryan Murphy's show Pose, which starred Billy Porter and employed more than 140 LGBTQ+ actors and crew members. All 3 seasons are now on Disney+. Ballroom culture has evolved over the years, with queer people of color forming houses that cultivate and nurture queer people, especially those who are also people of color and have been shunned by their biological families and communities. These houses creating spaces of power, resistance, and love, and serving as chosen families in many cases. The performances win prizes in categories with themes as you see it in the Bad Dream Dreamer storybook. They exist in defiance to the higher probability of the trans community being victims of violent acts. The trans community also faces discrimination in employment, healthcare, housing, immigration, and military service, as well as disproportionate rates of imprisonment, which leads to further violence and abuse behind bars. Houses have anointed mothers and fathers who guide and support their children. House parents become grandparents and godparents to the next generation and ascend in the house's hierarchy, becoming legends and eventually icons. Ballroom is now in Paris, Berlin, Moscow, Tokyo, Mexico City, and Jerusalem, providing LGBTQ+ communities freedom, creativity, and joy. Like jazz and hip hop, Ballroom is part of the larger story of Black genius that has created cultural and global revolutions. Ballroom has seeped into our popular culture, into our language, dance, and fashion. Nia is introduced to Bia Turner, who runs the Bottom Dollar Inn, after Nia is shocked by how much more lively and accepting the alien community in A-Town is. Bia refuses to accept Nia's money, saying that her children never pay a dime for a warm bed, but they do pitch in and help with the work that needs doing. Yvette takes offense to Nia implying that Bia isn't her real mum and snaps back with a dig at Nia's family. It's clear neither of them know about the other's situation. Bia diffuses the situation and sends Yvette to get ready for the ball. A confused Nia asks Galaxy what the reaction from Yvette was about, and Galaxy responds that her family is a touchy subject for her. Nia responds, well, join the club, under her breath, but apologizes to Bia, clarifying she didn't mean anything by what she said. Bia says, I know you didn't mean anything with what you said. The folks you see around here call me mother because to them I am. And I love each and every one of them like I nursed them myself. I opened this place because they were alone with nowhere to go, for no reason other than who they are. Nia relates to this. Bia assures Nia that she's among family now and is welcome here. At the ball, Nia feels wholly herself, all of herself at the same time, not having to worry about what people are saying or thinking. She can just have fun and had almost forgotten what it feels like. After the ball, Nia talks about how something like the ball wouldn't be possible back in Pathos because the aliens there aren't the most open-minded crowd. They can accept other species but draw the line at understanding trans people. Kat responds that the Pathos aliens are just jealous. Galaxy elaborates they come from across the universe seeking a home on Earth and wind up living in the small town for the rest of their lives, having to hide who they are from the world. But Nia is proudly and fearlessly themselves every day. Galaxy didn't know how much pain they were in until they looked at themselves in the mirror post-transition. The Pathos citizens feel like that all the time. Nia gets to be who she is, and they hate her for that. It's not fair, but it's true. The group tells Nia she shouldn't feel sorry for them. Having a reason isn't the same as having an excuse. Just because they're unhappy doesn't mean they get to make her unhappy. But sometimes we need a reminder that it really isn't about us. Part 3. Nia has more dreams and unleashes more static electric dream energy, waking up as a panic attack kicks in. Yvette talks Nia through the panic attack and coaches her on coping mechanisms like deep breaths of fresh air and drinking water. As somebody who's had panic attacks, I will say they pretty authentically captured the panic attack experience. Nia apologizes about the Bia not being Yvette's real mum comment. Yvette explains what her real parents did, sending her to a conversion camp, dropping her off with a big hug, and saying that they loved her. Bia has become, for Yvette and a lot of the other people in Bia's home, the accepting family they wish they'd had. Yvette remembers when she was at Nia's stage of her self-discovery journey. When she first got to Metropolis after fleeing her home, she was having a panic attack almost daily, new to the city and without any kind of plan. She tried getting a spot in shelters, but when they weren't trying to put her in men's housing, they weren't letting her in at all. When she thought she had one where she'd be safe, people started giving Yvette hell there too. So the streets ended up being Yvette's safest option until she met Bia, who took Yvette in, and Bia became Yvette's family. Yvette asks about if the context helped Nia feel any better. Nia confides in Yvette that she does indeed have powers. Yvette mentions that she didn't mean to make her feel like she owed her that, but Nia said it felt good to be able to tell somebody. After Yvette returns to bed saying that she's glad Nia is here, Nia senses something on the rooftop, heading up to the fire escape to discover Sybil. This is a new character in their first appearance here. Sybil is a seer that was in the picture books Nia was read by her mother as a child. Sybil divulges that they were marketing strategy propaganda. Nia finds out from Sybil that Nia's mom lied about why she left the Naltorians' homeworld Naltor. According to Sybil, Nia and Maeve's mother Isabel is a deserter who chose to leave and broke her vow as a seer to be a protector of Naltor. Protectors of Naltor fend off the dangers they foresee, allowing the rest of the motherland to become the beacon of social and scientific progress Naltor is today. The propaganda system serves to romanticize the role of the protector, to encourage Naltor's people to forfeit their worry and concern to only the protectors so they can live in ignorance of all the possibilities that could be. Most feel honored to shoulder that burden as protectors. Isabel was not honored and believes her life belonged to her alone, wanting to live it for herself rather than for Naltor and her people. Sybil has spent years searching for Isabel, but never saw her again. Sybil has come looking for Maeve now, the daughter of Nia's mother, to recruit her as a protector of Naltor, and is surprised that Nia isn't Maeve. Sybil finds out that Nia wasn't born female, to quote Nia. Nia doesn't know how this is even possible, but Sybil exclaims, how could the powers not have gone to her? They must have been drawn to Nia, her fire, her yearning, growing up, reading the propaganda stories, inadvertently willing themselves onto herself. They reiterate that the dreams never fail, the interpretation does. They talk about how the hardest part of Sybil's job is fear and fear of the unknown. That is why they train, spending their entire lives working to understand the nature of Naltor's protector's powers, to understand their role. It is a crucial step that a seer is prepared for her awakening, otherwise the fear can be debilitating. Sybil's so-called solution tells Nia it is possible to give the powers to Maeve. Returning from the rooftop, Yvette, Galaxy, Argus, and Kat offer support by driving Nia back to Parthas. Nia reunites with Isabel, who is relieved to see her, and Maeve, who is less enthused. Galaxy finds out Nia's family is Naltoran, the Naltoran species who left Galaxy's species, the Cyandi, to die at the hands of the Vane instead of granting aid. A heated argument starts, which is quickly de-escalated, but Nia pokes at Isabel's lie about how she left Naltor. Isabel agrees with Galaxy that Naltorans are bad friends, because Naltor's first responsibility has always been to themselves above all else. It's the isolationist nature that made Isabel's life miserable on Naltor. Naltor is a utopia centuries more advanced than anywhere else, just not for the people who ensure that or their friends. Isabel worked as a protector for years until she had dreams about her future, exciting her for the first time. Instead of calamity and death, dreaming of meeting a man she'd never met who would tell her of his dreams and of his home that was a true utopia for everybody. She lied to them about why she left, because she wanted Naltor to be more for them than it was for Isabel, because it's what seers do. Nia tells Isabel her lies hurt her. Nia tells her family that she has the powers. Nia's mum reacts with shock. Nia's sister Maeve reacts with anger. Nia's mum panics when Nia tells her Sybil is on Earth. Maeve says a transphobic insult at Nia that causes Nia and Maeve's mum, Isabel, to tell Maeve to shut up. As conflict continues to spike, Nia starts tuning out and falling into a dream and has a conversation with her mum in the dream realm. Isabel, in the dream, tells Nia to find room for herself in the darkness of the dreams, otherwise it will engulf her. Isabel points out that her interpretation of her dreams, that her daughter would inherit her powers, failed, not her dream. Nia has always been Isabel's daughter. Of course the power saw that. Nia is kind, brave, and giving, everything that a seer should be, and more, and Isabel is sorry that she made Nia feel like Nia wasn't enough. Nia is still hesitant to take the powers, afraid that Maeve will hate Nia. Isabel states that this choice is not about Maeve, it's about Nia. Nia inherited her powers because of who she is. They will both have to come to terms with that on their own, one way or another. When Isabel foresaw her daughter inherited her gifts, Isabel saw her daughter having more power than any of them. Sybil shows up in the real world while Nia is in the dream and kills Nia and Maeve's mom. Sybil reveals that she did this wanting to be the best of the seers and was happy to let Isabel die in obscurity, but when she foresaw Nia's powers, she had to ensure no competition, also killing their grandmother back on Naltor. Nia, Galaxy, and Argus band together, Nia delivering the final uppercut blow to take down Sybil, Nia finally claiming her powers in the process. Epilogue. When Nia wakes up, Sybil is gone and her mum is still dead. After her mum's funeral, Maeve leaves almost straight away. Nia still talks with Galaxy, Kat, and Yvette regularly, considering them like found family to replace the biological family she's lost, though her one remaining family member, her dad, Paul, while not knowing what any of the dream lore means, is helping Nia as best he can to learn how to interpret dreams. Nia ends the book saying, "Everything is different now. It's not all bad, but not all good either. I know I'm not going to see it all coming. Change is just a part of the future. I know that. But I'm making a promise to myself, Mum. I'm going to look for one I can be proud of."